We'd like to welcome you to today's session, and we're going to be talking about project management today. There's two basic means that we can go about project management. One of those I'm calling the PMI, or Project Management Institute way of doing projects. The other one I'm calling is Agile, or Agile Project Management. The sources for this information comes from PMI.org, the Project Management Institute, and the steps that they train as part of their PMP training and certification. The other angle or way of looking at project management or projects is coming from a book by the title of Agile Project Management by Jim Highsmith. Now, these two methodologies are very, very close to each other, but slightly different. And they're different in this way. And we'll go through these in just a second, give you an overview. The other things we'd like to cover in today's session have to do with personal projects, or small projects as I like to call them, the kind of projects that are yours, and as you work with them they get better. So this personal project management, and you've already looked at a couple of tools that we suggested for your personal productivity, ToodleDo and Noseby, and you can go back and look at those. We'll give you a quick review of those and see how those would work in a little bit more detailed way for you personally and your personal project management, also into small project management where you might have one or maybe two other people. And then we're going to go into the idea of project management, but from the angle of a little larger projects. As you work with the group here and you become more proficient in projects, there's a good likelihood that you'll end up working in groups towards producing products. And those projects I'm calling in this case public projects, because there's enough people involved you would call it a small public. I have two tools here that we're talking about, Minimoon and Redmine. And Redmine is a product that I've installed on my own servers. It's an open source tool, and you'll see the richness that it has. At the same time, you can compare it with a much nicer looking product, but not quite as many features, that's sponsored in the Google tool set. And so we'll look at those two as possible ways to manage your projects. So where do we sit right now? Well, you're probably in the middle of creating a product of some kind. And in that creation, you're probably to the point of saying, well, I've got to get this thing done. So how do you get projects completed? Well, it works out pretty simple. Let's go back where we were here. Sorry about that little misfit. Okay. Oh, my little trick tool for zooming here has disappeared with the change of software. Okay, enough sidelight on that. So the first idea we're going to look at is this idea of an idea. The idea is the starting place for a project, and that project then grows from ideas to initialization. And when you initiate the project, it's really getting going, and then you go to planning. And under PMI, when you're in the planning stage, you're going through a huge amount of putting together what they call a work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure, of course, identifies your milestones, your critical path, relationships and dependencies between various tasks, what resources are going to come and be used at those tasks, and it tries to spell out all those details in a project management plan. Sometimes you'll have a launch meeting with your initialization, and then you go about identifying features, functions, characteristics. What's that end result that you have for your project? So that's where the planning happens. And then you, of course, execute, and you make sure that things are going the right way. You control communications, you control the whole process, and you help make sure that execution is happening so that the product does come off to completion. Finally, when this is all done, you get to toward the end, and the last 5 to 7 to 3% is usually the hardest part of any project, because then people are starting to think of leaving. They're coming to the end. You think it's done, but it really isn't, and there's a lot more of a push, and so you have some major things you do at the close. So this is PMI, Project Management Institute's project management. We're going to go a little bit more depth of this right now. Then after we complete the depth of that, then we'll go through these personal product manager tools, the master to-do list management, and then we'll go into the public tools, and then of course we'll look at the agile project management and how it's very different and how you can apply it into your getting your product created. So how do you create a product? Well, you go about this kind of a process. You manage a project. start date, end date, tasks in between, manage the risk, bring in the resources, solve the problems, get the thing done. And that's project management. Not too hard to do, but something that needs to happen. So there you go. That's what we'll be covering today. I want you to jump into the next video and you'll get the Project Management Institute a little bit more detail on how that system works out and what it does for you. And then, of course, you'll hit on the other items we've talked about here. Thank you.